Hello again and welcome to another Mordian Mondays, or should I say Manticore Mondays, because this week, guys, I have finally painted up my two Manticores, and I'm super excited to talk to you about them and what I've got planned for the rest of the week and what I will be doing this weekend. It's actually going to be quite an exciting Mordian Manticorian Mondays. That's what I should have opened with. Oh, well, it's too late now. That's what we're going to be talking about this week. Everything to do with Manticores. Why, all of a sudden, have I painted up two Manticores and magnetised them? You know, what is the reason for this? Well, I will get into it now. Firstly, I want to say that it has been a long time coming, me painting up these Manticores. Okay, I have had a Manticore built and base coated for like 2-3 years, and I've had another Manticore just sort of sitting there for months, and I finally decided, you know what, it's time to pull my finger out. Now, some of you are going to say, but Mordian Glory, why have you been sitting on two full payload Manticores and not using them, you absolutely insane bastard? And I will get back to you and say, because I knew they were good. Now that might sound very strange. If you know they're good, why aren't you using them? Well, what I like to do with my guard, and what I like to do especially for this channel, what I traditionally try to do, is not just focus on the things that everyone knows is good. I mean, we all know, since Psychic Awakening came out, that two full payload Manticores have been fantastic. That has been true for over a year now, or about a year. Over a year, I feel like. And it's a bit like, you know, if I know they're good, what's the point of me doing a video on stuff that everyone knows is good? I mention it constantly. Full payload Manticores. But I need to go out there and use them to know that they're good. And I faced it off against them plenty of times. And I have proxied them and whatnot plenty of times to get an idea that I know that they're good. But I've never run them at a tournament. And the reason for that is because I was trying to think outside of the box. I was trying to go and try other things, because not everything is just full payload Manticores. Okay? Now, I've decided, like, whilst it's all well and good thinking out of the box, I also need to actually make sure that I am testing what is within the box as well. And I'm actually also really getting a proper sense for the power of these units. And also, once in a while, I like to treat myself to not running an experimental list and to actually running something a bit more mainstream and a bit more, dare I say it, normal. So I decided, you know what? It's all part about clearing the never-ending backlog. So this is two vehicles down from the never-ending backlog, which is great. I get to use an actually competitive, good unit, which is fantastic, which gives me a bit more credibility as well. No point in turning up to the guard channel if, you know, the main guard guy is, you know, sucking on his thumb and, you know, blowing bubbles out of his ass because he's not using the proper units. No, what I've been doing the last 6 months since tournaments have been, been allowed again in the UK, is I have been doing things properly. I did a whole video on it. It's time to get serious. You know, we had all our fun and became all fluffy bunny and hobbyist in lockdown, but now we're back out on the battlefield, and, you know, I've got to be doing things properly. And as much as I love running my all Scion army, which I maintain is probably still, Scions are still probably the most powerful way you can run your guard, and I've been loving the fact that I've been coming across other people who've been trying that and saying, yes, it definitely is very, very powerful. As much as I love running my Scions, they're not regular guard. They're so different, they play so differently to regular guard, that they're almost they are a sub-faction. And so what I wanted to do, after what was it, like 6 tournaments of running Scions and just absolutely blitzing the Scion train and just really distilling that whole formula down, homogenizing it, distillation, and getting reps in the Scions. And when I went to that last tournament with the Scions, and I got 3 wins, including against Admech, and I got a draw against Dark Elder, I was like, you know what, this is kind of like, this is the peak of the Scion-ness. And I could probably take it further and further, but that was like a good point to end it on, where I could point to results and be like, look, I have now proven that Scions are you know, definitely A tier. They're not S tier, but they're definitely A tier, because if you can go up against Admech with them, if you can go up against Dark Elder with them, if you can go up against, you know, Sisters with them, which at the time were pretty good, and do respectively with them, you know, then they were good. Now, obviously, the meta's changed somewhat now. Now we've got buggies all over the place, so that might not be true anymore. But the point is that what I did with Scions, I have to. It's not I want to. I have to do that with Guard as well. I have to do that. So it was time to pull my finger out, and it was time to, you know, and the real catalyst for this was this Cadian supplement coming out. That was the catalyst for it. I was like, look, this is a nod from the gods, God, whoever you believe in, the flying spaghetti monster, the great river that provides, and just the intrinsic sense of the universe. This is the sign from them, like, look, here's a sign. We're going to give you a nice little shot on the arm for your regular Guard forces. You've already got the stuff you need. You've just got to do a little bit of painting on a couple of Manticores, and you can go to a tournament with these guys. And I had totally forgotten that I'd signed up to a tournament. And I was like, which I'll get to in a moment. And I was like, well, this is all coming together, isn't it? It's all coming together. The Cadian supplements come out just in time for me to go to this grand tournament with it. Let's do it. So that's what I'm doing. And that's why I have suddenly painted up 2 full payload Manticores. And what's interesting, in terms of just the wider hobby thing, I actually started this week painting up a squad of Mordians. And I got about a third of the way through a squad of Mordians, and it hit the weekend, and I realised, and I got a reminder, you must submit your list this week. And I was like, list for what? And then I was like, oh, crap, I've got to go to a tournament. I was like, well, let's take the Cadians. And so I actually have not only ever got 2 full payload Manticores painted up this week, I've also got about a third of the way through a classic metal Mordian infantry squad, and I'm getting painted up loads of extra like turrets and sponson weapons and hull weapons for my tournament arm this weekend as well. So it's been a real productive week on the painting front. So that's what's been going on in the hobby world. And I had a go at magnetising. Some of you, I tried a couple of different ways of magnetising the Manticores, and that was all cool. So I've got to, magnets are fun. I got to play with some magnets. But what are we talking about this tournament? What am I talking about? Well, Warrington. When lockdown first went away in the UK, I signed up to every tournament that I could get my hands on that I knew I'd be able to go to, and then I kind of forgot a couple that I signed up to, and this was one of those ones where basically I got a message from I'm good friends with the TO. He actually runs our local club, and he's like, "Don't forget to submit your list for Friday. I know you haven't done it yet." And I was like, "It was Friday," and I was like, "Why? What am I submitting a list for?" And he was like, "Because you're going to the Warlords singles tournament," and I was like, oh yeah, that thing that I paid for. I just totally forgot about it. Oh, anyway, so that was a bit of a show. I had to submit something. I was like, well, this Octarius book's arrived, and I guess and I asked him, can I take the new Cadence? He was like, well, when did the Octarius book come out? I was like a week ago, and he went, whenever it came out 2 weeks before the tournament, you can use it at the tournament. That's the rule that we use. And I was like, sweet. I guess I'm using Cadians then. So I had to throw together a list, and I thought, obviously, it was a bit of a funny one, because on the one hand, when I've been in this situation before, when I've not really had time to think about things, I have defaulted to using my Scions, because I'm so familiar with Scions that they're my go-to tournament army. But I thought, and I hate this having a bad habit of going to an event with a list you've not practiced with. But, big buts don't lie, but I didn't want to run my Scions again. I wasn't really feeling it. And I thought, I've got this Cadian thing. Let's for once actually be on point and talk about something relevant. Let's take Cadians to a tournament. Because everyone's been shitting on the Cadians online, saying the supplement's no good. And I think it's all right. I think overall the supplement is a bit of a joke for 30 quid. But it really should have been 15 quid. But I think what the guards have got was nice. It would have been nice if it was for all. Yeah, anyway, we won't get into that. So I thought, you know what, let's take a Cadian number. And I thought, you know what, at the end of the day, I'm so familiar with Guard, I know what it does, that unlike Scions where I need to be taking a list that I know what the hell I'm doing with and I can't be so experimental, why don't I just take a super mainstream Guard list? Something from like 8th edition but juiced up with 9th edition good shit. So that's what I ended up taking. Or what I'm going to take, that's what I submitted. So I'm turning up with... You can't get more classic Guard than this. I'm turning it with about 120 infantry and 6 tanks. I mean that's so classic. It's boring almost. but I've Cadianified it, and I'll go through the proper list. I'll go through a summary of it now, and I'm going to actually do a video this week saying this is the list I'm taking, so we can have a little bit of a breakdown, and then see how it, then do a sort of a post-mortem, assuming how it goes. But do a bit of analysis. Obviously, I'll do my usual, so this is what I took to a tournament video. But what I'm taking is, I'm taking a patrol and a battalion, and in the battalion, I'm taking Pask with a battle cannon, plasma cannons, and a las cannon, and I will go into the details of that in the full breakdown video. I'm taking another tank commander with gatekeeper, plasma cannons, and a las cannon. I'm taking Creed, and I just looked at Creed. It's like, why have I not been taking Creed up until now? Creed is great. He's like 60 points. He does 3 orders in a 12-inch fucking bubble, not 6-inch. 12-inch bubble, and if he's your warlord, it gives you 2 command points, but you don't ever take his mediocre warlord trait. You trade that in for a tank ace. So basically, you get a company commander who can do an extra order, which is like, alright, fair enough, and a 12-inch order bubble, and 2 CP. And he only costs 25 points more than a regular company commander. It's like a company commander and a platoon commander mashed together, but for better. So, yeah, I thought it was a bit of a no-brainer, really. So I've taken Creed, Pask, tank commander, 2 full payload manticores, boom, and then 4 squads of conscripts with 30 conscripts in each. Well, technically it's 30, 30, 30, 27. I had to drop 3 conscripts. That's the good thing about conscripts. You can be a bit flexible with them. So that's the battalion, and yes, I've upgraded all the conscripts to white shields, and those conscripts are going to run around with Creed, because Creed's just going to be like, okay, I can do 3 orders a turn. And for 1 CP, I can do another order a turn. So I can just order all of these white shields around. That's great. So, I mean, that's just good shit. So Creed's going to be running around with 120 conscripts. And he's got a 12-inch bubble. So he doesn't even need to be that near to them. And the conscripts can just accept his orders for days, bro. So that's pretty cool. So I've got Creed running around with 120 conscripts. I've got Pask and a tank commander loaded up, and 2 manticores, which are all loaded up for those long-range fuck you bombardment capabilities. And then I've got a patrol, and in that patrol I've taken 2 more tank commanders, and both of those tank commanders I've given Demolisher Cannon and Triple Heavy Flamer, learning lessons from the London Grand Tournament. And 2 units of regular infantry. So I've actually got 140 infantry and 6 vehicles. And the reason I've got those 2 units of infantry is because I'm going to use them to sit on objectives, to raise banners, to be action monkeys. I don't necessarily, even though we've got the new stratagems for it, I don't necessarily want a unit of conscripts to be sat doing an action. I might want to use a cheap infantry squad to do that as well. Also, if I ever want to, depending on the scenario, I might want to be able to just move, just a little squad off. They can bubble wrap Creed. I was thinking about using Scions instead and using them to deep strike in and to get retrieve data, but I've been going cold on Rod recently because of, well, again, lessons learned from the last few tournaments. I find that banners is a better one to take. So the point is that I've got 140 infantry, 4 tank commanders thanks to Pask, 2 full payload manticores, and Creed. And that's my list. It's mega simple. It's super straightforward. I don't have a huge amount to remember. Just remember to use load, fire, reload every fucking turn, and shock troops every turn. If the enemy's got any vehicles, just make sure to be using hail of fire every single turn, and overlapping fields of fire whenever I can to make my manticores not rubbish. And that's kind of it. And the plan is really to have Creed and 120 conscripts and the 2 demolishers move up the board, draw fire, get in the way, whatever, and then to have back of the bus manticores lobbing shells, well, technically lobbing rockets, and then to have my 2 long-range tank commanders just slinging just serious firepower down range. So that's kind of what I'm going for. And like I said, I'm going to do a full breakdown video later on this week. I'll probably get that out for Wednesday or something. But yeah, that's the plan. That is the plan. That's the list, and that's why I painted up 2 full payload manticores. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. As always, let me know what your hobbying expertise and experience and what have you been hobbying on this week. I always love reading comments about other people who've been hobbying on. It really motivates me to actually do some hobbying. It's nice, you know, all guard commanders just sharing that good shit. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Before I go, I want to say a massive thank you to the Patreon supporters. It is thanks to the Patreon supporters that I'm able to go to tournaments. This tournament is fully funded by the Patreon supporters, and it's thanks to them that I'm able to get the cadence supplement and go to a tournament and, you know, just not be worried about anything and just come back and be able to focus purely on the tactics, purely on the experience, and share that good stuff with you guys. So massive thanks to Patreon supporters. You guys are legendary. If anyone's interested in becoming a Patreon supporter, there's a link down in the description below. But I won't go on about it anymore. Thank you for watching, and of course, I'll see you guys next time.